Hello guys, it's Shrimp Time here and we got another English video. As you requested, I still have problems to make those English videos, but I hope that you will encourage me with subscribing my channel, giving a thumbs up, etc. so that I will be able to make more and better English videos. So today's topic, as you can see, we are going to talk about shrimps, feeding shrimps, the way the shrimps eat, and everything you need to know about feeding shrimps. At the end of the video, I will show you two sources of food that I use for shrimps as well. So let's start about the theory. As you can see, shrimps are got their organs ready for feeding with scraping the surface. This is because the main food for shrimps are algae and biofilm. They tend to feed all the time. The healthy tank will look like this. Your shrimps will look for food, they will go through the tank and they will feed all the time. The reason for that behavior is because shrimps got specially created digestive system. They are not prepared to feed once a time. You know, they cannot save the food for later. They digest the food that they got from the tank, from their natural habitat, all the time. They cannot magazine, they cannot save the food for later. So healthy shrimp will, if it won't molt or won't try to find a female to breed, they will look for the food all the time. And this is why you should have healthy biologically tank. What does it mean? It means you got a lot of life in the tank, a lot of microorganisms, a lot of bacteria, a lot of algae that shrimps can thrive. What can help with that is getting a lot of plants. If you get a lot of plants in your tank, you get another microorganism to collaborate with the plants, and they will develop. Thanks to that, the shrimps will get enough biofilm to feed. The food that we use to give for our shrimp, even if it's specially designed for the shrimps, it isn't the best source of food. The best source of food are algae and biofilm. So this is why we need to choose a good food with high quality and rich in proteins. If you don't know, shrimps need proteins to grow, to develop their body parts, to develop their colors, etc. A good food for a shrimp is the food that will get something like 40% of proteins. This is the food that shrimps will love. But there is another problem with the proteins, because shrimps will prefer the plant's proteins, the proteins from algae, etc. They don't like, or let's say it in another way, more healthy for the shrimps are the proteins from plants, not from the animals. If you look up most of the proteins food for the shrimps, you will see that there are some types of food on the market that will use a high amount of proteins, like 40%. But the main problem is that a lot of those proteins are from animals, from Daphnia, from Artemia, etc. This is why I think that you can use those high proteins food only once a week, because it isn't that healthy for the shrimps. There were research made in the past that checked how the larvae, the youngsters from Caridina shrimps grow using different types of food. And one of those food was artificially made food that we use in our tanks. Yeah, the second one was Artemia without shells. And the third type of food was a gel-based food on algae. The food was developed using algae, and it got little particles dissolved in the gel or in the form of gel. The results of those researches were astonishing for me. Most of the food got like 20 to 40% of proteins, but the most interesting part was that this gel food based on algae results in a faster growth of the shrimp. The shrimps that were fed from breeding for 60 days with this kind of food were more than 10% bigger and heavier from those that use Artemia and the artificial food. Another interesting fact is that those shrimps that were fed with Artemia grew slowest. So that shows that the animal protein source isn't that good. The best source for the shrimps is algae. The second interesting thing from those researches is that the smaller particles of the food are made for shrimps, the better the food is. Especially for the young shrimps that can have a little problems with digesting harder particles. So knowing these two factors needs to show to us another very important thing, which is very often misunderstood. Many people say that the food source that you provide for the shrimp isn't that important, especially for the coloration. I cannot agree with that. If you provide high quality food, the coloration will be better. Of course, there are another important factors like genetics of the shrimp. We know that if we got better genes for our shrimps, then that will result in better coloration. And another factor, of course, is the water parameters. The shrimps won't thrive in high NO3 water that has no water change, low filtration, etc. So you need to combine all these factors. Another very important thing is that you should change the way that you feed your shrimps as your tank develops. Because at the beginning, if you have low quantity of the shrimps, you will have no problem with feeding. In my opinion, if you got 5 to 10 shrimps, you shouldn't feed them at all. Because if you have matured your tank, if you have some plants in your tank, the shrimps will eat the biofilm in the tank. But through the time, when your shrimps develop, they breed, you got more and more shrimps in your tank, they will eat out most of the biofilm. And the biofilm won't be able to outgrow the amount of shrimps you got. Yeah, they will eat it out all. And this is the part, this is the place that you should start feeding regularly. And this is another important factor, because you should feed with low amounts of food that shrimps can eat in 1 hour, 2 hours, no more. But you can feed often. If you are able to do that, if you had a lot of shrimps, feed them twice a day. If you get a good amount of food that will be eaten by the shrimps, you won't have any problems with your water. The problems with water parameters starts if you overfeed. So 2 very important rules. The first one, feed your shrimps often. The second one, do not overfeed. Okay, and now, as I said, I will show you my 2 food sources. I usually feed the shrimps with the food that I made by myself. So if you want to see that food, if you want to see the recipe, please let me know in comments and give some thumbs up for those comments, so I will see them and I will know that you need this kind of movie. But getting back to the topic, the first food source that you can see and that I use is Shrimp King protein. This is high protein food. I use it only once a week, no more. Why is that? Because the proteins come from different sources in this food. And I don't know how much of the proteins come from algae, how much from bacteria, how much from animals. And this is why I think that I can feed with this food only once. But on the other hand, this is quite good food. We have high amount of proteins, 42%. And another important factor is that those proteins have different sources. We got Crinobacterium glutaminicum, which is a special bacteria that is used for production of amino acids, so it can benefit for the shrimps. We have insect proteins. I used to use some insects to produce the proteins for my shrimps on the farm. So I think that it can be a good source. We get nettles, yeah, and nettles is very healthy, it's very good for the shrimps. We get dandelion, we get daphne, krill, and chlorella algae. And speaking about daphne, krill, I use them as well when I produce my shrimp food as a support for the protein source in low amounts. But chlorella algae is one of the main components of my food. So if I see a food that is sold on the market, that I see that many of my components are used as well, I think that it can be used. The one component that is a bit controversial is cinnamon, because cinnamon contains poison, especially the one type of cinnamon. I don't remember quite well which type is it, but one of the cinnamon's species contains a large amount of poison. So this is a bit controversial for me to use cinnamon, but all other parts of the food are great. So I can recommend the Shrimp King food. It's quite nice, especially the protein. It's very, very nice. And as you can see, my shrimps love to eat it. Yeah, this is the shot that you got the close-up earlier. And this another important factor about this food is that it dissolves in the water, you know. Shrimps get good access to the particles of the food, and thanks to that, many shrimps, big, small, will get the food. It's very important for me that shrimps will get access to the food. Please let me know in the comments if you like the quality of the video. I love to read your comments. It's very important to me because it helps me to develop the channel, and it also helps me to reach the higher amount of the people. Okay, and now we'll go to another type of food. And this type of food can be a bit problematic because it's benibachi food. It's gold food. The name is gold food, but unfortunately, most of the companies from Asia don't show the exact amounts of parts of the food. Yeah, we do not know of the ingredients. Yeah, we do not know very precise what is used to produce that food. But this type of food, the gold shrimp food, I see it got some ingredients that are quite important for the shrimps. Especially it contains calcium and yeast. This, and it's based on saltwater algae. The saltwater algae in Poland, it's called kelp. I'm not sure, or kilp. I'm not sure is it the same in English. But seawater, saltwater algae are rich in iodine, and shrimps needs iodine to be healthy. The yeast, on the other hand, is a very good type of food, which is one of the natural components that is used for shrimps in their natural habitat. Because, for example, if there are leaves and other particles getting for the water that shrimps are in their natural habitat, the biofilm contains also the yeast. So I think that if you use the yeast in the production, it can help to feed shrimps with the food that is natural and good for them. Unfortunately, benibachi doesn't say what plant and animal components it contains, so it's hard to say and what vitamins and minerals it get. Yeah, it's very hard to determine that. But I'm trying their food line right now, and I feed shrimps mainly with my own food and the benibachi line, and I want to see what the results will be. I will try to make a movie about that as well. After a period of time, I will show you that I used, for example, 3 months of feeding with benibachi and my food, and I will show you the results. I can say as well there are different good types of benibachi food. So if you want to see my diet for whole week, yeah, the way that I feed my shrimps, please let me know as well, so that I will know to show you that my diet from Monday to Sunday, the way the shrimps are fed. And I think, guys, this is all that I have to say in this movie. I hope you enjoy the video and that you like the fact that I'm trying to do those English video more recent. Let me know that, and to another movie. See you.